I got to get my throat together, dog. Get that honey in the throat.
Pause. How you gonna wake up dead?
Nah, we're going to get to that.
Oh, no.
We're going to get to that. We getting everybody canceled.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to talk about cancel culture.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's
Making
all good.
children cry. That's dope.
We're back with another episode of Black in the Middle,
Middle class.
Middle of the map.
a podcast by three friends who seem to always find themselves stuck in between.
Black culture.
And white America.
If you're a believer that genuine conversations can be a first step to closing a divide, then you're in the right place.
The middle.
With us.
Let's go. All right, we are back. This is your host, Tim.
Travis.
Herman.
And today we have a very special guest on the pod, Mr. Mateen Stewart. Now, Mateen
What's up, fellas? How are you?
What's going on,
Wonderful.
man? What's going on?
Now, he is repping a Detroit Lions hoodie. It is Sunday, football Sunday.
Yeah.
But he's calling in from LA. And we'll unpack that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because that is kind of weird. That might be the first time that's ever happened.
So he went from Detroit to LA like Axel Foley?
Okay.
They coming in early. All right, quick intro on Mateen. So, stand-up comedian living out of L.A. He was born in Detroit, Michigan. After high school, he went to the illustrious Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. Obviously. Did you stay in the foot?
I did, man. We stayed on the same floor, Tim. What are you talking about?
Man, I stayed in the foot, and then I went and got an apartment, and then I ended up back in the foot because I was broke sophomore year. So, and I was all alone.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, man.
I didn't know that. Back, but you had a room to yourself when you went back, though,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It was a whole different experience.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was awkward.
He set up
But,
shop.
but anyway, yeah. So Mateen and I stayed in Patty Foot, one of the most infamous dormitories on campus. But obviously, you know, Mateen's a black man. He's from the Midwest. He went to FAMU, so Detroit, Michigan, to be specific. But you know, being in LA, he still got what 1-2 tree job, man. He's a officiant.
Yeah, I do. I do a lot of things. Yeah.
And a DJ. So T-Bone just started his officiant career, actually.
Yeah, the Lord called me.
His first gig was non-paying.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I got a case of Corona.
Maybe you can give us some tips on how to get paid in his second job, but we might get to that. But anyway, so welcome to the show, man. Why don't we kick it off by just kind of telling our listeners, you know, what was it like growing up black in the middle, and kind of how'd you get to where you are today?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. So I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, and a lot of times people have this like negative connotation about Detroit, Michigan. But I grew up pretty middle class in Detroit, Michigan. So the neighborhood that I grew up in was where the white people were still there. So if you were white and you lived in Detroit, still you lived in my neighborhood or you lived in another neighborhood called Palmer Woods. Because back in the 50s, the white people left the city. Detroit is one of the most highly populated cities of black people. It used to be the blackest city in America, and gentrification has changed that a bit. But yeah, my parents we were pretty, middle class. My parents bought their first home in their 30s. Unlike a lot of black families who got that like first raise, first promotion, my parents didn't move out of the city because that was like a status thing to like move to the suburbs.
Yeah.
So my parents wanted to make sure that they raised their kids in the city of Detroit. I did go to a private school growing up called Nataki Taliba, which was named after our headmistress, our principal's daughter who passed away. But that school was like the blackest of black schools.
Oh, word. Okay.
We learned about Kwanzaa. We learned about all our history. It wasn't like, oh, we're gonna do a black history. Like we knew everything. They took a trip to Africa every other year.
Okay.
So they made sure that like we knew who we were, where we were coming from. So then I went to high school, King High School, and I took a test. We had like a school of choice school, so you had 3 schools that you could take a test to get into, and I went to one of those schools, which was a public school, which was it was kind of a culture shock for me because I had never been in like that mass of people before.
Yeah.
I was always like with my close knit because I grew up with the same people from like kindergarten to 8th grade, with
Right.
the same people in my class. And so then to go to like this big high school with 3,000 kids, it was a little bit of a culture shock for me, and it was on the other side of town. So yeah, man, that's just, I graduated there, and I wanted to go to the University of Michigan because I just was really good to University of Michigan. But yeah, my mom was like, I'm not paying for you to go to no school that's not a black school. So I don't care what black school you go to, but you got to go to a black school. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to a black school. So I had my choices. So I went through like this program where you could apply to like 30 schools with like one application fee. And I got into like 28 of those schools.
Dope.
And then I got scholarships from a few of them. Mississippi Valley State, Jackson State, Prairie View. And I didn't want to go to any of those schools. I didn't want to go to Mississippi. I didn't want to go to Texas. And my lineage is from northern Florida, like Quincy and Tallahassee area, Gaston County. So at FAMU had just won like College of the Year, like 97, 98.
Yep, right before.
And I was like, yo, I want to go to this school. And then I saw their band, and I went sight unseen. I applied, and I got in. And then I picked Patty. Here's the thing. I picked Pattyfoot. Like Pattyfoot was a shitty dorm. It was a singles dorm that they put 2 people in. And there was no separating showers. So it was just like shower heads, and that's it. But like we had like an unwritten rule. Like if you heard the shower, you did not go in the shower. It was just like,
right.
I don't know how we navigate. I don't know how 26 teenagers navigated that for one shower, but we made it happen. And so yeah, I actually picked Pattyfoot because it was a Pattyfoot complex. So I was like, I want to stay in the complex. And I got there, and I was like, what the fuck is this? It was like a prison cell. Like, it was literally like a prison cell. It was brick. And your beds were so close together. Like, I could touch my roommate's bed right next to me. Tim and his roommate, they did bunk bed to open up more room in their room. But yeah, we hung out in y'all room a lot that freshman year.
Was you on the top bunk or you in the bottom bunk, Tim?
I don't like your question, man.
Did you have to fight for it though?
Hey man, it's a simple question.
I'm a top bunk,
homie.
Top bunk.
Oh, okay.
He was in the top bunk.
Yeah.
But they made their room very spacious, man. It was cool. So yeah, like I went to college and majored in theater because I was always an actor, and then I went back home 4 years to Detroit because I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life with a theater degree. So I worked at some regional theaters and did some children's theater tours and worked as George Washington Carver at the Henry Ford Museum and saved up a bunch of money, and then I moved to Los Angeles where I currently reside. I've been here for 17 years now. Yeah.
Damn. That's awesome, man. I mean, all right. So, why'd you become a comedian, man? I mean, you're from the Midwest, and that, obviously, you got into acting and that entire world. But what made you think you were so funny to make a job out of it?
Yeah, when did you know you was funny?
I mean, I was always a goofball growing up. I mean, throughout my theatrical career, I did a bunch of dramas. I was very versatile. What I could do. I never wanted to be a stand-up comedian. It was never something that I wanted to do. I had started a theater company here in Los Angeles called Forgotten Roots. And that kind of like went on for like 3 years or so. And then it kind of dissipated because the people that I had involved with it, they didn't love it as much as I loved it. So I was kind of creatively depressed and going to auditions and having things not happen for you. I was like, I need something to refresh my creative juices. So I was in this goals group. Like we would go and we would set goals. And one of my goals was to do 3 minutes at an open mic. And I was talking to my mother, and she was like, well, you should see if there's a class. And And I was like, they're teaching people to do, no way. They're not teaching people to do stand-up comedy. And I just Googled stand-up comedy class, and it was like 1,000 of them here.
Dang.
I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, who knew? And so, yeah, for my birthday, my dad and my mom, they paid for me to go to this class. And I went to the class, and it was cool. I thought I was the only one that didn't do the Groupon. Like, everyone else had a Groupon. I was the only one that didn't do. I paid full price. Yeah.
Premium education.
Then the funniest thing is there's like, for the longest time, he used me on his Groupon for it, like a picture of me in the class. So
that's what happens when you pay
that was exactly. It was a 6-week course, and it culminated in a graduation show at the Hollywood Improv. And I did that, and it was like something I had never felt before, even with me performing throughout the years and like doing all the acting stuff that I did. It was like a new muscle, that I discovered, like being unplugged from the creative. I just kept doing it. And once I figured out that I could actually be good at it, it's just something that I just kept up doing. So yeah, now that was almost 12 years ago. So yeah, man, I'm just
Dang.
making waves, man.
Were you immediately good after the class, or did you get out there and bomb ever? And if you did bomb, what'd that look like?
I was good, man. Okay. I was good. Now I look at myself now and I'm not, but like, as far as what I took away from the class and how everybody reacted, like it was a graduation show. It was built for success for the comedians because you invite all your friends. But, I did well. I got laughs, and it was like, oh, I'm saying these things and I wrote these things, and now I look at it as kind of hacky jokes, but I hit the ground running because I had years and years of performance. So the performance wasn't the hardest part for me.
Right.
The hardest part for me was to learn how to like navigate and tell a joke and what makes something funny and storytelling and things like that. So I got to a point where, you get better and better the more you do something. And so, yeah, I did this, and then they kind of like put you into this, I don't want to say servitude, but it's like this system where like you do the class, and then the teacher of the class, he pawns the new students off to these bringer show producers. So a bringer show is you get booked on the show, but they tell you have to bring 5 people if you want to do your 6 minutes. So I had lived in LA for so long, I had so many friends that wanted to come see me do bad. Like they were like, "Oh, well, you're doing this. Everyone wants to do stand up. Like we're gonna go and see you bomb."
You fail.
Yeah.
Those are good friends there.
Yeah. So I went through that whole process, and I realized that did that, and then after a while, you can go through and you matriculate. Where this guy's like, "Okay, well, you brought your 5 friends. Like, you want to do the Friday show, and you have to bring 10 people, but if you sell the tickets." You sell 10 tickets, you get $50, but you can sell as many tickets as you want. So anything over 10 is $5 a ticket. So the first time that happened for me, I sold like 30 tickets.
Nice.
So I was like, I'm making $150 at the comedy store. I'm doing good, man. Like I'm gonna be, this is my life. And it's just a bringer show. But then your friends get tired of seeing the same 6 minutes. You get tired of like trying to hustle to get people out because if you don't bring your people, you get a shittier spot. So one time I had one person. I was like the 23rd comic.
Damn.
Out of 24. Yeah, it was like last night. And yeah, that was the last time like I bombed. February 1st, 2013.
Remember that specifically,
Boy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's dive into that trauma.
Yeah, it was one of those nights where I was like the 23rd comic, and I had to follow Bobby Lee, and Bobby Lee, it was like 200 people and 300 people in there. And Bobby Lee got up and did it. He's famous and he was killing. And then it's like, okay. And then I decided I was tired of telling the same 6 minutes. So I'm like, I'm going to do a completely new 6 minutes that I've never done before. Wow. And it's just going to work. It's just going to work. And it didn't. Because comedy, as much as, it's a routine. It is a routine. Yeah. So the things that comics say, like, you want people to believe that you're saying it for the first time, That's the goal, for people to be like, oh, he's just now saying this.
Right.
But in actuality, there's years and years and years of working jokes that I don't like retire jokes per se, but I just like stop telling it. But yeah, those jokes take years and years to find like the ebbs and flows, especially in like a long form or short form story form. So
Yeah, that was
man, February 1st, like 2013.
That was
because
good.
I mean, I only count go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I only count like a bomb if it's in like a real audience. Like if you do like a bar show or like you know, no one's fucking listening. But yeah, it was like silence for 6 minutes and like with 250 people there, like that.
That's pretty rough.
That
like then you have that.
sounds like that like 10 years, like when you're in it, like just never ending.
I'm sure it's just grossly uncomfortable, which was going to be my question. Like, when you have that experience, like, do you just go back and tweak jokes, or do you just be like, man, and throw it in the trash can?
I ain't never
just
coming
scrap
back
it,
here.
And then I'm like, nah, this don't work.
Well, the thing is you have to persevere. So my thing was like, I knew I never wanted to feel that again. I was like, I'm never going to do the show again because I don't want to have my fucking friends come. The force me in. I was like, I never want to have this feeling again. I never want to feel that feeling again. Because everyone bombs from time to time. It happens. But I try not to worry about if I'm a bomb or not, because at this point I don't care. Like I used to care if people laugh or not. Like now I don't care. I don't, because you're gonna laugh or you're not gonna laugh, and that's what's gonna happen. So
It's liberating.
I tell my jokes for me, and comedy's very subjective. So it's one of those things where also it's also if people aren't laughing, you're not doing your job per se. Because if a singer can sing and he's still singing, but the comedian tells a joke and no one's laughing, is he being a comedian?
Right.
But I also say that my job is not to make people laugh, it's to make people feel. So if something I say gets a reaction out of somebody, because to me groans are just as good as laughter to me.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, you are taking the audience through a bunch of different emotions other than just laughter, right? They're feeling, heard or felt, right? Like you're talking about situations they've been through. So maybe they're feeling validated, you're building confidence, and then you're like maybe totally stripping that away and knocking them down and making them, cry, laugh. Like, yeah, that's a good point. Comedy's not just for laughter. I never really thought about it that way.
Well, I think it's probably hard for you to try to fit yourself into a bucket where you're trying to please everybody. So you kind of have to take the ownership route of, this is for me, this is my body broken for you, laugh if you want.
Yeah, and Patrice O'Neal is one of my guys. Like, he's just like the guy that I gravitated to when I was coming up watching comedy, and he was one of the guys. And he had mentioned something where, like, he said that he doesn't want everybody to like them. He said, I want half the people to like me and the other half to be afraid for their fucking life.
Who was
and
that?
Like, that's
Patrice,
just like
Patrice O'Neal.
Patrice O'Neal. Yeah.
Rest in peace.
God rest in peace. Yeah.
Wow.
He's hilarious.
So yeah, man,
Have you seen his comedy?
He's the fun.
He is hilarious.
Yeah.
Now he toes the edge. Like, you might have to watch that by yourself, but he's funny.
Yeah, Elephant in the Room was his special that he did before he died. So he recorded his special, and then he died 9 months later.
Wow.
Yeah.
In 2011.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang, has it been that long?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, so Mateen, I mean, you're talking to three black guys who are, still stuck in the middle. You out here in LA, living your best life, man. Just talk to us about how was the LA struggle? We always hear like, all right, you move to LA and you got to work 3 jobs and, just to try to get these opportunities. But like, you've been there for, what you said, 17 years. Like, you still a struggling comedian?
I've been here.
Oh, that's winning though. If you still there.
I mean, struggling is relative. The whole thing with life, and I mean, I see it a lot more in the entertainment business. Being is like you get everything that you thought you wanted, but then you want more. So if you would have told me 10 years ago, 11 years ago when I started comedy that I would have done half the shit that I've done since, I wouldn't have believed you. But now I look at it and, it's hard to look at who you are as a person, and then like not compare yourself to other people. And entertainment is one of those things where it's all dictated by one person can change your life. So you know, you could work hard at business, and you could be the best business at selling, and you can sell the best. If you sell the most stuff, you're going to be the most successful. But you can be the best comedian and not necessarily get some opportunities that you feel like you deserve, but you can also, you know, be in a room with somebody and do something and like, oh, I think you're funny. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Whereas those aha moments that can change your life. And now I've had a few of those being here in Los Angeles, and it's very celebrity driven out here. But, you know, I've never had to wait tables. I was an education minor at Florida A&M, so I've always had worked in education. So I always did that, and then I worked at a summer camp during the summers. So during a year, I would work in education and still do auditions and stuff, and then I would go work at a summer camp during the summers. When I started comedy, I couldn't be away for the whole time. So in 2014, me and two of my friends, we put together this tour called the Well Spoken Comedy Tour, where we raised about $8,000 and we toured the country. We did 21 shows in 28 days.
Damn.
Wow. Like I said, struggling is relative. But you know, I got a house that I bought with my roommate, my old roommate, like 6 years ago. So I kind of hit the lottery on that. Like fell into that opportunity and was able to capitalize on that. And then you know, I got my family now. You know, I got a daughter, and yeah, things are going good. Like it's hard to complain when you have a pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It's hard to.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got a question. So one of the things you brought up were like those kind of pivotal moments that were like life-changing. So like what was one of those moments for you in LA? Like the person that helps you advance, or a situation?
I mean, so working at, when I was working at the summer camp, it was a sleepaway camp in Pennsylvania. The owner's daughter was in the movie business. So she's a line producer. And so there's been a lot of opportunities that I've gotten just because she's put me in the room or, you know, mentioned me for something. So my first like big thing, so I booked a commercial like 2007. And that was just like based on like her knowing somebody that knows somebody that was looking for actors for this thing. And so it was always like directly correlated to her. I was able to get my agency. That I was able to, it's like my dad would always say, it's always like the devil in the details, like the little things that happen there. It's not always like a big thing, but yeah, she's actually helped me a lot over the years to do some things and do some really cool shit. My first like big network thing, I was on season 1 and season 2, Funny or Die Presents.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
On HBO. Yeah, and so I was able to do that, and everything was, you know, from there, and then being in the room, you know, it's all opportunities that you get. You have to capitalize on those opportunities. So, you know, it's luck, and then being ready when that luck happens.
Yep.
So you get an opportunity, like you said, to travel around and, you know, do some intricate tours and things like that. How hard is it for you to craft an audience for a different demographic? You know, it's different in the South. It's different than the Midwest. It's different out West. Like, how do you go?
Well, yeah. So let me piggyback on that. So Mateen came into KC a few months ago. We hooked up. We went over to the Negro Leagues, and Bob Kendrick gave us a personal tour, which was like the most amazing thing I've ever experienced because he knows like every single fact and story about the Negro Leagues. Like, it was pretty dope, right? But Mateen was in town for it was like a conference where a bunch of collegiate event planners go to plan entertainment for their schools, you know, like for homecoming or, you know, different events and shit like that. So he picked up a comedy gig while he was here, but that was the mainstay. And so I know y'all went through some of his material. You know, we watched a joke of him getting called a nigga. Like, are you saying that type of stuff to students who are, you know, at convocation or freshman year and stuff like that? Like, how do you switch it up?
So some schools have have like content that you can't say. But I haven't done a college where they've given me too many rules. So what I've been doing this year is this thing called open mic with Mateen. So I would go to the college. I'll do a workshop with the students that want to learn about comedy, and then we would do an open mic afterwards.
Nice.
And then the students would I would host the open mic. So I would do 15 up top. Then the students would do their 5 minutes, and then I would do 30 at the end. And the only rule they told me was like, don't talk about people's identity. So that was around the time where like
really
Dave had gotten into trouble about saying whatever.
Yep.
So they were like, as long as you can talk about anything else, but don't talk about that. So you hear the rules because they're writing you a big ass check. So, but if I'm at a club, or I've never had any rules given to me from a club, but one club in Jacksonville who told me not to talk positively about Obama, and also it was like no F word comedy. That's how they promoted it, like no F word comedy. And then they were like, yeah, like you probably shouldn't say positive, like talk positive. That won't work. And
that's wild.
And I was like, yo, man, I love Barack Obama. Like that's how I opened. And I was like, of course I love him. I'm black. I'm black. And I'm like, and I was like, you guys, and I think I said something about, I think this white woman like booed or whatever. I'm like, you should like Barack Obama. She goes, nah. I'm like, without a white woman, we wouldn't have our first black president. So you should take appreciation into that.
Oh man,
Facts,
I bet she
bro.
loved that.
And then she immediately walked out.
No, it blew her mind. It blew her fucking mind, man. But I go through ebbs and flows. I mean, you have to be able to. I mean, I try not to cater my material to people, but also feel like I have material for everybody. My whole goal as a comic is to be walking the room funny, and so that means like any room in America or anywhere else that I can make people laugh. But even if I'm telling like a local story about something that happens in LA, just make it relevant to where you are. So what I try to do is when I'm on the road is I try to go find things that you can relate to. So you always want to be able to relate to your audience. So, if I'm in Kansas City, I'll learn like, oh, where's the shitty place in Kansas City that you don't want to go? And it's like, oh yeah, Kansas City, Kansas or something. Just talk shit about.
Correct.
You already know.
That is accurate. You have done good research.
So it's just like you just want to be able to relate to the people, and man, that's just what I try to focus on. I think that my comedy is pretty universal, and I kind of push the envelope a little bit, and there's like a hierarchy of what you can and can't say, as far as like depending on what you look like. So being black, and you could almost say whatever you want to say, almost, but. For me, I really think that people. I posted this today, like last week. Like sometimes people are too woke for the joke. Like it's too woke. Like with Brittany Griner and everyone's like, oh, you guys. I'm like, people are making jokes, man. Like it is like it was it an unfair trade? Yes, and it wasn't. I wasn't saying like we need to get her home, but like Russia got over because they were trying to get him out. Right. So she was. I mean, it was like Brittany Griner getting traded for LeBron James. Like that's what that trade was like.
Yeah, we should at least got some draft, we should at least got some draft picks or
something, man.
A hockey player. Somebody.
Yeah, a case of vodka, something, man.
Some authentic stuff.
Yeah,
that's funny.
So yeah, man, you just gotta navigate through all these fucking rules and shit.
So switch up topics a little bit. One of the things we talk about is just getting old, and like our parents are aging, and it's like preparing for that. And like I was just moving with my pops the other day. Thankfully he's still like working. Actually, my pops is on the verge of retirement, which is kind of crazy.
You said you were moving with him?
Yeah.
Like you were helping him move?
Yeah.
Bro, once you reach a certain age, man, that is something you pay for.
Yeah, that is outsourced.
Yeah,
not moving anything.
Nah, man.
Sometimes,
I'm not moving nothing, bro.
My back hurts just thinking
sometimes
about
the way the checking and the savings account works.
I was about to say, he's still fiscally responsible.
That means that you don't need to move.
But so Pops, so a couple hours in, his knee starts giving out.
Sounds about right. That tracks.
Right, so he's just pointing.
Yeah.
But we talk about this, and it's like, all right, what's next? He's talking about retiring, going getting a job at Home Depot or Lowe's. I'm like, all right, yeah, he's gonna be that old guy.
He'll be the equalizer.
And then it's like, all right, now what does retirement look like?
Shawty, I'll build that bathroom.
Shawty, I can help you with that.
I'll put a roof on it.
I don't understand why y'all voices got like that when you start talking about my pops.
Yo, daddy.
Say, Shawty, I can help you lay that tile.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mateen, I'm taking this a different direction, guys.
Sorry.
Oh, my bad.
So when you were in KC, you opened up and you talked about your moms, right? And
yeah, I lost my mom in 2020. Yeah.
Sorry.
And it's as we get older, like this, it becomes normal conversation, and I'm not ready for it. How, like, talk to us about like how you were prepared to deal with something like that, and how you've gotten through, like, real talk.
I wasn't prepared because my mother passed away. It was a shock. She had a heart attack, so it wasn't like a thing where she had cancer or something. So she was here one day, and then 9 minutes later she was gone. So
wow.
Yeah, she was having like some heart issues. She thought it was heartburn, and this is where I'm a big advocate of women, specifically Black women, getting checked out because they are underdiagnosed with heart disease. Heart disease kills more women than men kill women, and we would never hear about anything that happens with a heart because you never even see any tropes on TV about it.
Right.
There's never a woman having a heart attack in any movie that you've ever seen, but you always see a man grabbing his chest.
Wow,
or whatever.
True.
So,
yeah.
I was in shock. So that happened September 3rd of 2020, and I had to take a step back because as we grow up, our parents are superheroes. Like they're superheroes. And as you watch them get older and being away from home, it would always be in the back of my mind, like, even though anytime you leave somebody, it could be the last time that you see them. But as your parent gets older, you never just know what's happening. And, and being Black, our parents die a lot sooner than other people.
Yep.
And I went home for the pandemic and I flew twice that summer to go home, which everyone was like, don't go home, don't fly. But I'm like, I can't just not see my family. So I went home twice. I went home in April of that year, and then I went home in August, and then like 3 weeks later, my mom died. So it was good that I got to have those moments with her, and my memories, my last memories of her saying goodbye and be careful, and doing comedy is something that has helped me deal with a lot of the grief because I can be able to talk about it and I can be able to navigate through the trauma of losing a parent because it's something that you can't explain. It's something that never be ready for, and I'm still not ready for it. And now, like my dad, me and my dad have had like a volatile relationship, throughout our years. He's always been there. My parents were married and everything, but we've had some issues. But now I appreciate him a lot more because he's getting older. And he's the only one I have left. So for that, like it was easier for me to talk about things because I had this vessel to go on stage and do it, and I can joke about it, and I make some jokes that people find uncomfortable or whatever. But I'm like, why are you uncomfortable about a joke I'm making about my dead mother? And if I'm fine with it. But I've also had the juxtaposition of that where like people come up to me after shows and like, oh my God, like I just lost my mom, and to hear you talk about this and like the things that you said has really helped me. You know, I really needed these moments because I didn't know how to navigate it. And also, you know, finding out that, you know, 3 months after we lost my mom, that I was going to be a father. And that was like something that definitely helped me as well.
Yeah.
And being that we weren't even trying. I mean, we was trying, but not trying. Like we weren't proactively.
Yeah.
We weren't proactively trying to have a baby. But, you know, 1 year after we lost my mom, we had my daughter. So, and then we named my daughter Jamie after my mother. And the baby's name was going to be Jamie if it was going to be a boy or a girl. But I knew it was going to be a girl. I just knew. I knew it was going to be a girl. And then we found out that Jamie actually means supplanter, which means to be replaced after death. And
wow,
it's just like such a grandiose moment in my life to have a child. And I would love for my mom to be a part of it. But I feel like she's here. I feel like I look at my daughter and I'm like, are you my mom? Like, are you like what is
reincarnated?
Look, and even like you look at baby pictures, they look alike.
Really?
They really do look alike. My mother as a baby, my daughter as a baby. So yeah, it's just been really, and therapy has helped a lot too. I tell everybody if you have an opportunity to go to therapy, make sure you go to therapy and find a good therapist. The one that, you know, reacts to you. But the therapist that I went to was definitely really great. She was a grief therapist, so that was her specialty, and it helped me a lot. And what I tell people is I saw this thing is like it's the grief box. Like grief is like a box with a ball in it, and you carry around that box. There's a button in the box, and the ball hits the box, and you lose it. But over the years, the ball gets smaller in the box. The button stays the same size, but that ball gets smaller, and anything could move, and that ball will hit the button, and then it's just you lose it. So there's been moments where I've been fine, and then I'll hear a song or something, or you know, I get the inkling. I would call my mother every morning. I would talk to her, and there was a time when I would just, you know, you would forget, and you'll call her and be like, oh yeah, oh shit, she's not gonna be there, and it's just like it's infinite. You know, it's infinite. Loss is infinite. And that's why I tell people life is too short to not have your parents in your life, and you can. And I have a friend that's like, oh man, my mom, I'm like, dude, you only get one. You only get one of those. And you don't get anybody else. And so yeah, so that's just been, you know, for me. And then I started a scholarship in her name. And we're gonna give out our first scholarship this year to a woman that goes to FAMU, and I wanted to be able to pass on. We also adopted new mothers and took care of diapers for the first year, and it was so funny because I adopted like 5 mothers, and I was like, hey, you guys, I'm gonna take care of diapers for the first year.
Wow.
And then like 3 months later, I found out that I was gonna be a father. I was like, I wanted to be like, can I get those diapers back? Like, I'm just
we're only doing this for 4.
Like, that was I know. I'm like,
There's been a
like,
recall.
I know. I was like, oh, but yeah. So yeah, it's been tough, man. And even when it happened, you know, it didn't seem real when my sister called me. I'll never forget. My sister called me that night, and I was getting ready because I was filming The Weakest Link the next day. And my sister called me and was like, yo, you got to come home. I'm like, what happened? And she was like, she didn't make it. She didn't make it. That's it. And it was like 9 minutes. I went to go take a shower. I came out, and she was gone. And so that weekend afterwards, I went out, I performed. I was on a game show called The Weakest Link, and I went through and I did that. And they kept us in a room by ourselves. And so it was a chance that if I didn't make the first cut, I would have to be in a room by myself for like 8 hours. And I was like, if I don't make this first taping, I'm going home because I can't be in a room by myself without my phone just there. So I did that. And then the next day I flew to Vegas, and I hosted 2 shows in Vegas.
Wow. And
then I flew to Pennsylvania, and I did a wedding in Pennsylvania. And then I drove from Erie, Pennsylvania to Detroit. And that 4 hours just was It was just surreal. It was just surreal. It was just damp and dark and
Highway 80, that straight shot. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, when
Highway 80.
When you talk about it, from our perspective, I think Deion Cole in his most recent stand-up, talked about the loss of his mother and, how hard it is to get up for game day, when he's feeling so bad and depressed about that situation. So I find it very interesting that you were able to, find a way to interject her into your comedy so you can kind of help deal with it. But mental health has to be a real focus for you in the job that you do.
Yeah, it does, man. And there's a lot of comedians that are super depressed, and this is like their outlet to go through to express themselves. And it's always that thing of the sad clown. I've never really been depressed or anything, but I mean, losing my mom was definitely something that made me sad. But she prepared us for all of this. That's the thing that I was able to take away from, because people were like, how were you able to do and go and do all these things after she passed away? And I'm like, my mom would be like, I'm already dead. You ain't gonna change nothing. Why would you cancel these shows? Why would you cancel these people's weddings? I am not coming back. So you might as well do your damn job and then take care of everything. Because no, seriously, and I needed that. I really needed that. I needed to be able to do that. And when I went to Vegas, I was with some other comics, and I was at this water park or whatever, and I was out of it, still loopy. And I got in the water slide with my glasses on. It was like a water slide in the lake of Las Vegas. So as soon as that happened, I was like, shit. So my glasses flew out. So my glasses was just in the water, and I was just like, ah. And luckily I had my contact lenses. But then the comics was ripping me and shit and whatever. And I was like, you guys are going to feel so bad when you find out my mom died. You're going to feel so bad about this. You're going to feel so fucking bad. You guys are giving it to me. You guys I was like, just stop, please. And so one of my friends, Brittany, she went back, and then I told her, I was like, hey, I just want to know my mom died. She lost it. And a lot of times, people that I even know, they reached out to me and was like, hey, I cried because I knew how much you love your mother, and the fact that you lost her and how much you loved her, made me feel so, I feel for you. And, people always offer things like, oh, anything, people, you don't mean that. Nothing anybody can do will make anything feel bad, ever. Nothing anybody can do. And so my friend, she had lost her mother, and she was like, sleep when you need to sleep and cry when you need to cry. And that helped me. That helped me a lot. And, being around comics helped me a lot. But yeah, man, it's just something that I deal with every day, and I will deal with every day for the rest of my life. And also to have a daughter to be able to look at and provide for, and be that beacon of who my mom was. If I can even be half of who my mom was to my daughter, I feel like I've done a good job.
Yeah.
Well, that's such a thing that we all strive to be at some level, some version of our parents that we just know we can never live up to. But I'm it's something that I feel like we all probably unconsciously or consciously focus on. I know, you never know when that moment's coming. So it just the intentionality behind how you interact with your children. Your child is really small, but I'm I know that'll be a driver at some point in how you want your daughter to feel, coming to you with everything and just giving her as much knowledge as you can.
Yeah.
And I'm damn, it just feels like there's not enough time to pass down the lessons.
Yeah. I feel that all the time, man.
Yeah,
and what I love about what Mateen said is he knows that his mom feels like, she prepared him for life, right? And now he's got this little baby girl. Now it's your turn, right? But she trained you. You got the playbook, and I think that helps with fatherhood, is kind of having some confidence. Say, all right, I do know kind of where this is going to go and what it takes to put into it. Obviously, even though it was I mean, just sorry for your loss, man, and sorry you had to go through that at 40. Like, I feel like this, we shouldn't be going through some things like this. Like, it's unfair, you know. Like, part of me is like, but then, you know, the other part's like, this is life. It's, you know, it's unexpected, and that's, you know, you have to deal with what you're dealt, right?
Yeah, and I lost a few friends this year, and and the one that really gave me like insight, my friend Cassie passed away, and I went to her funeral, and to see her mother, how her mother reacted to her losing her baby, man, I was just like, man. And you know, part of me, thinking like, my mom never had to deal with that. My mom never had to lose a child. You know, that's a good thing. Like, she lived a life, and she was very real about things, and I knew she was scared. And those are these moments that I replay. Her like knowing that, you know, this is it.
Yep.
A moment before it, I knew she was scared, and you know, my sister said she was scared, and she got into the ambulance. And so these moments, it's like I wasn't there, but I would have these like vivid dreams and visions of like being the bird's eye view to all of these things. And you know, I couldn't go to a bathroom. I couldn't be in the bathroom alone. Like, you had to like have the door open, because she had a moment in the bathroom. That's where her moment was, where she was out of breath, and you know, she was in the tub. So, you know, even with like giving my daughter a bath, you know, I had to work through that with my therapist to like do these exercises to get me to a place where like I felt comfortable. Ambulance sounds would trigger me because she died in the ambulance. So it was just like, with the work that I did with my therapist and with everything else that I had going on, being able to, you know, focus on my daughter and other things. And that's why I say, like, if you go through a major loss like this, I tell everyone, like, even if you've never been to therapy before, do it. Like, go. There's people that have sliding scales. Yeah. Just, you know, find somebody, find that release. And I even made have my dad go to therapy. Like, my dad is like old school, you know, Brooklyn, like whatever. But he lost the person he was with for 40 years of his life. That's a long time. And I always joke and say my parents were married for 40 years, and that's a long time to hate somebody. But you know, they've been together for so long, man. That's a long time. A long time to be. Yeah, and so, you know, he's been able to navigate it through. And he's done. Kudos to my dad, man. You know, like I said, he's had his issues and stuff, but he's done a lot better at this than I would have figured that he would have. Because my dad, you know, he's one of those men that, you know, he drank, he smoked. Like, for my mom to pass away before him, it's like, he has like what? Like, no way. Like, no way. And you know, Little Rail had another special. He has a special out. He talked about losing his mom and talking to his therapist and feeling guilty. His therapist like, do you think that the wrong parent died?
Yeah, I saw that.
And that hit me in my soul, like in my soul, because, you know, if you would have told me in a million years who I would lose first, it would be my dad. Because my dad, you know, he doesn't, you know, my mom didn't drink, she didn't smoke, she didn't do anything. You know, she just had genetics and like didn't get taken care of by a doctor. But if you're a black woman and you're over 60, you die of anything heart related, no matter what, it's going to be caused. It's going to be a natural death, no matter what.
Wow.
And so like that, you know, those are some things that I was going through. And like, kudos to my dad. You know, he went to therapy, and like I said before, like I have a deeper respect for him I've ever had before. And you know, he's had so much loss in his life. Like, his parents died when he was young. Then nobody wanted to adopt him and his brother. And then his mother's aunt adopted him. And then, you know, she passed away. And then he lost his younger brother when I was in college. And so, you know, then to lose my mom, it's just like, you know, he was able to persevere for me. So now he's starting to feel his mortality a little bit. So, you know, when he came out here to visit me, all this stuff. Like, I'm gonna take you, here's all my wheels and stuff. And like, I'm like, dude, I don't want to talk about that. We need you around for a few more years. He goes, I know, but I gotta do this, and here's this stuff, and I'm leaving everything to the grandkids, and y'all take the house. And so, and that was another thing. My mom made sure everything was taken care of, so we didn't have to do no GoFundMe. We had all our ducks were in a row. I tell everybody, get life insurance. It's not that expensive. It helps your family. You're not here. You can't do shit with it, and you dead anyway. So get it. And generational wealth. That's how white people get rich. They meet mom and papa, die, and they leave them money, and they
got a couple million in the bank.
They get these life insurance policies, and they take the money out and everything. So yeah, some life insurance, all you got to do is have it for 20 years. Yep. And then you could, get your stuff out. So I learned a lot from that, being prepared for that amount, and we were prepared for everything. So, yeah.
Good. We just talked about life insurance on our last episode, but all right. So we've talked to little guy in the background. All right. So, you mentioned when you kind of, you introduced the joke, and you told the story about your mom, and like some people just were like, all right, that's just not funny. Grief may be one of those topics that's hard to do comedy for some people. You talked about like identity, like that's just a topic that you cannot talk about down here in Jacksonville. What would you say is like one of the fun? I mean, you mentioned, Brittany, right? And the trade situation. What are some topics that you might see that are just funny as hell, but maybe some comedians are too scared of getting canceled to talk about?
I mean, trans jokes are something that people can't deal with right now. But for me, I'm like, anybody can be made fun of if it's funny. The guy posted a joke yesterday. He was like, yeah, I went out with this girl and we had a really amazing conversation, and I got her back to my place and we were making out, and I put my hands on her pants and she had a dick. And I was like, wow, that's why our conversation was so good. So like that. And so, and I was like, that's a funny joke. If you can't laugh at that, right. And there's a comic, Ty Rivera, and Ty Rivera he's a gay comic, but he talks about he's really good at like navigating it. Like I said, I think anything can be talked about as long as it's funny. And I feel like now it's like the new kids on the block, like, oh, we've got picked on and people kill us at an alarming rate. But I'm like, dude, people kill black people at an alarming rate all the time. Like it's crazy that we feel like we can not talk about certain things. And I question a lot of things. I question a lot of things, and some people won't have any answers for me. But you just got to be able to like navigate through it, and just you have to be able to make it funny, because even like racial jokes or like white comics saying the N word on stage, like those are certain things that like never is gonna happen. Like a white rapper saying nigger in a rap, like. But I've seen it done. Like Zach Galifianakis has a joke where he says nigger in the joke, and it's hilarious. Yeah. And it was one of the funniest jokes that I heard. He was like, yeah, my friend likes to say the word sand nigger a lot, but it's never talking about Arab people. It's more like, get off this sand, nigger. Volleyball is a white man's sport.
Dude. Right?
Like, that's hilarious. Like, why wouldn't I laugh at that?
Oh, man.
Why would I laugh at that?
I felt no offense.
Why wouldn't I laugh at that?
It's right. That has to be the hardest thing. Like, he is hilarious, but I'm like, just in a room, and like, if 95% of people love that and are all laughing, but then there's a 5% just staring, angry.
You just gotta go for it.
That's what it always is.
There's gonna be
5% that's loud. Yeah.
There's gonna be a staring. It's gonna be the 5% or the lady that thinks you and like, I'll go to middle America, I'll go to red states, like a shitty red state like Ohio, and make Trump jokes, and I'm like, you guys look at me And if you don't think that you think I'm gonna like Donald Trump? What the fuck? Like, seriously? Are you seriously gonna look at
right? Why did you come to
black
this show?
man from Detroit that went to his? Yeah, like, really? You're not gonna, do it. But yeah, man, it's just a lot of things going around that people are worried about getting canceled.
Do you think that the longer?
I don't know.
Do you think that the longer a person does comedy, it increases their probability of actually getting canceled? Like, do people look that far back in the history books? I mean, we've seen people get canceled over like the most random of stuff.
I mean, old tweets.
Yeah,
old tweets will fuck people up. Yeah. I think everyone's just super sensitive now, and you have to be able to, work through that. And if I'm at a point where I'm getting canceled for something that I said, I'm doing okay in my career. You know what I mean? If something I said, get me canceled. Yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm doing okay. If you're not hiring anybody, if you're not causing anybody.
You think comics
and that's the thing where people's like,
no, go ahead.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
That's what
you know what I mean. Like,
you think comics would be off limits, right? Like, like shock value. Like,
that is literally in the job description to make fun of things and people,
everything.
Right?
But the landscape has changed so much. So do you find yourself more so having a social responsibility through your comedy? Because that's kind of where comedians have emerged over the last couple years.
Yeah, social media and stuff, like, there's certain things that you can't put online per se. And some things that I wouldn't put online because it's there forever that I'd say on stage. But
can you give us an example? I'm just kidding.
That we can put online.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. Like, I tell a joke about, here's the thing with a lot of people calling people anti-Semitic. So I tell a joke where, because I worked at a summer camp, and so it was cost $10,000 to go to. So I say, hey, it cost $10,000 to go to, and it was nothing but Jewish kids, because who else can afford to send their kids to a place for $10,000?
Right, that's cool.
And I was like, I always thought it was weird that Jewish people would spend money to send their kids to a place called camp. That's weird to me. That's weird to me that they send their kids to a place called camp.
That is
because I would not send my kid to a sleepaway plantation. I wouldn't send my kid to a sleepaway plantation. I wouldn't send them there. Like, no way. I'm like,
summer in the field.
You guys gonna go spend a summer on the plantation? Yeah. What do you do there, Dad? I don't know. Jet skis and pick cotton. I don't fucking know.
We have crafts like cotton.
Yeah, and I think jokes, and I told that joke in front of the most orthodox of Jewish people at a
bar mitzvah, bro.
And they laughed. No, not at a bar mitzvah. No. But at an event, and they laughed, and so. I do bar mitzvahs. Yeah,
I know you do. You do comedy at your bar mitzvahs, and I know you be like DJing and stuff.
No, it's just like DJ and MC stuff. But mostly my thing is weddings. That's like my business.
Yeah,
weddings are my business. Yeah.
Bro, that's
married by Mateen. If you looking to get married,
I'm
the #1 wedding officiant in California right now.
There you go. There you
that's
go.
What's up?
Oh man, that's funny. Any other jokes that you got stewing that might get you canceled?
I haven't had too many. Oh, I have
yeah.
He's like, all right, I do got a list.
Right. Hey, look, this joke gonna be behind a paywall.
Yeah,
probably not. So
I tell this, because people get offended by words and stuff, and they're just words. And this gay guy told me I got into an argument with him. He was saying that faggot was the most offensive word, and I was like, no, it's not. Shut up, faggot. You know what I'm saying? He didn't do nothing. And then I was like, you see how you didn't do anything? I said, if you would have called me a nigger, we would have fought. Right. You know what I mean? And so, and I go through this whole story about everything, and people get upset I say that word. This one guy was like, you should say that. I'm like, dude, if it was your nickname in high school, you could say it. So I did musical theater at a black high school in Detroit, Michigan. So that was like whatever. But
really,
but I go into like how you can I think that those words are very offensive, like nigger and faggot are offensive, and we should take it back. Because I hate racists and I hate bigots. So I think we should call racists nigger faggots. Like, I feel like that we should own it back and call them nigger faggots. Like, fuck these MAGA nigger faggots. And I feel like that would just be, we just own it back. And then
that's hilarious.
I go through and I say, you know who else you can call a nigger faggot? If you're a field goal kicker misses a game-winning field goal under 40 yards, he's a nigger faggot.
I got a couple people I'm thinking about calling that.
Oh, damn. Oh,
I know. Dude, it's great.
All right, you heard it here first.
So
and you heard him here last. Mateen
Stewart. Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's hilarious.
That is, yeah. I don't know.
But you gotta be balls to the wall, man. You gotta believe it. And then Jim Norton once said that you should never tell a joke. If you can't tell a joke about the person that's there or whatever, like, don't tell the joke. Like, if I saw like some gay guys in the audience and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna do that there because they're there. Like, no, I'm gonna do that joke because I'm not talking derogatory for them, and it's a joke. Like, if you don't get that joke, then you don't need to come to a comedy show. Like, don't come to a comedy show if you're easily offended because you don't know what you're going to see. So the variable is always going to be there for someone not to say something that you don't like. So don't fucking come to a comedy show.
Yeah, it's really weird because I'm like, yeah, you would go to a comedy show knowing that you could be the subject of the butt of a joke, right? Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
I have sat front row in a comedy show before, and it was not. I mean, like center front row in front of the mic.
Absolutely not.
It was not a good position.
Well, like, you would think that he could come on at any moment in time.
No,
right?
Not I, because I'm sitting in the back I'm so dark you can't see me in the muted light.
Yeah, I try not to pick on people. I host a show every week at the Improv now on Sundays, and I do a lot of crowd work in those instances because I'm there every week. So you got to talk to the audience and that. But yeah, I try not to be mean to people. But if you try to talk to a comic, know that they are a professionally trained sniper. So right. You can't get back at them. Like, yeah.
Do you learn a lot of insight? Like, what do you learn from an audience? Like, I would imagine that you'd be able to learn so many things just from reactions or pauses or whatever it is. Like, does that impact your comedy?
Yeah, I mean, the thing I love about comedy is doing this and performing is I'll never perform in front of the same audience ever in my life. Even if I performed in front of the same people back to back, those people have changed because they've experienced something that they didn't experience before they had saw me the first time. So that's the one thing that I love, that no matter where I am, I'm never going to perform in front of the same audience. So that is something that is like very unique to performance and doing performance-based stuff like comedy or acting on stage or performing in a rock band. But like I said, comedy is very subjective.
Right.
So, it's, people are going to laugh or not. And if you go hear music, if a music person is playing or doing a song, that your natural reaction after that is to automatically clap. But that's not people's natural reaction after a joke. It's not to like clap. Unless you like kill it. Unless you're killing up there.
That's a good point. All right. So, gosh, this has been an awesome episode. So as we kind of wrap this up, Mateen Stewart, first, give everybody your plug, but actually save that for the end. What is next? Tell us, like, what's next? What big projects or kind of super secret projects, whatever? Like, what are you working on? What can people look out for coming from you?
Coming from me. So I have a pilot right now for a drinking game show that we're going to record in the new year. I can't really talk about it right now, but yeah, I think it's going to be really good that I'm hosting and producing on. And man, I'm just trying to formulate my 2023 schedule to get on the road a bit. I haven't been on the road a lot. this last half of the year. But also, if you are involved in any colleges or corporate America, I have a show that I do called Comical Race Theory. So me and my friend Martin, we go around the country CRT. And we have this workshop about CRT about it's about like diversity and inclusion, and it just teach people, the basis of like stereotypes and things like that, and help people give a comfortable space to learn and know things, because a lot of these things that we have about people don't know where they come from. Yeah, and people just be out there saying. So comical race theory is something I'm really proud of right now. We're trying to make moves in 2023.
Awesome, man. All right, we're gonna keep a lookout for your CRT show. That's hilarious. All right, so Mateen Stewart at Mateen Stewart on Instagram. Please give him a follow. Go through his content. Check out his reels. They are hilarious. Make sure you share and favorite them. Are you on the TikTok?
Yes, I am on TikTok. I need to be more active on TikTok. I'm on TikTok everywhere. I'm Mateen Stewart everywhere. I'm the only Mateen Stewart in the world, so it's easy, and I don't have to fight anybody or pay anybody for my name.
Dope.
So Mateen Stewart. Yeah.
Congratulations. Are you the only Travis Brown?
Far from it. Right? Far from it. Very generic.
Nah.
That's what's up, man. Well,
can we ask some of these additional questions, just even if they're just for clips later?
All right.
Yes. Quick.
Go ahead.
Number one, like, who is the most well-known comic that you could call right now, or celebrity generally?
Celebrity I can call right now? They won't answer.
That's all right.
I can call Bobby. I can call Bobby Lee right now. I can call Bobby Lee. He won't answer. I can call Jamie Kennedy.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I don't know who's more famous, Jamie Kennedy or Bobby Lee.
Jamie Kennedy.
I would say Jamie Kennedy.
Jamie Kennedy had his own.
Jamie
show.
Kennedy. Yeah, I can call Jamie Kennedy.
All right.
Okay.
Who is a stand-up comic you are not trying to follow up?
Nobody. I go after anybody, man. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Talk your talk.
I'll go after Chappelle.
That's what I'm talking about.
I don't give a fuck, bro.
That's dope.
Talk your talk.
Ask the comics if they want to go after me. That's the question.
Okay, that is the question, right? All
right. That's an alpha dog mentality.
There you go. All right. Okay.
If they're gonna follow me, so they gonna get it.
All right, fair enough. Best and worst cities to perform in.
Ooh, I love Chicago. Chicago's my favorite city, and I think Jacksonville was one of my worst cities to perform in.
Sound like it.
As far as like the audience members being like super sensitive and too woke, Portland, Oregon is like that. Where they're just like super woke, super sensitive. But also I like that because I think a lot of times people liberals are worse than conservatives in certain instances. We're like conservative will outright be like, "Oh, we don't want you niggers here."
We say
that. Liberals try to pretend.
Yep.
Yeah, niggers. But like liberals try to pretend like they're not white and like, no, Oregon, you guys are fucking racist here. You made it illegal for black people to be here.
Right.
Like, don't forget about that. So, so Chicago and Portland, I would say
nice.
Can I keep going?
Go ahead.
All right. Who's the biggest asshole that is a comic? Maybe you don't have to name that person, but is there somebody that's just like, people are like, man, they're funny, but they're just kind of an asshole?
There's a lot of comics like that. There's a guy, I won't say his name, but he was on a 70s show where he had a catchphrase that he still uses to this day, and he is not a nice person at all. He fired my friend Samson from a job just because he was gay. And then got on stage and berated him about it. And so I've heard really bad things about him. His name is alliteration. It's the same letter.
Sorry.
If that helps.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've heard really, really bad things about his old ass. So.
Interesting.
Okay. All right. And then other than, well, I guess best stand-up, or maybe what is the stand-up routine of any comic? Obviously, besides yourself, like.
You got a stand-up, like a favorite stand-up, like a
show?
Patrice O'Neal Elephant in the Room is a perfect stand-up comedy special for me. I still watch it. I used to use it as a gauge to show to women that I were dating. Like, if they don't laugh at this, I can't fuck with them.
Right. There you go.
So,
what about you?
Erica, I showed it to Erica. She loved it.
There you go.
So yeah, Patrice O'Neal, Elephant in the Room. Mike Birbiglia, my girlfriend's ex-boyfriend, or it's one of his things. Mike Birbiglia. So, and that's the like juxtaposition in my comedy, like the duality of my comedy, where I love Patrice O'Neal,
right,
who's like raw, in your face, and I also love Mike Birbiglia, who's like one of the best storytellers. So I try to ride that wave in between. Like I'm just like a menage of those two guys.
That's what's up. I can see that.
You got one, Herm?
Mm-hmm.
But
stand up that
favorite stand up?
Yep.
Man, I mean, one of I think Chappelle's first one.
Killing Me Softly?
Yeah, I think it was Killing Me Softly.
Killing Me Softly?
Yeah, that really got me. And then obviously Eddie Murphy Raw.
Chappelle's great.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah.
We just watched Raw, Eddie Murphy Raw.
And we watched that in college every
day.
Yeah.
Tim, you got one?
Well, I said we just watched Eddie Murphy Raw. I put it on for wifey. I think she laughed 0 times.
No.
But you know, it was the
toxic. She grew up in a different time. Like if you watch it,
exactly,
it was toxic. Like he was being hateful.
Yes,
Like
yes.
You cannot do that now. You can't be like, stop looking at my ass. You know, you can't be. You can't.
Right.
It was just so like
I know y'all
vulgar bullet to the head comedy. So, but that's the one that comes to mind. What about you?
Well, I love the Chappelles, but I'll take that because everybody's going to say that. One is Chris Rock, Bigger and Blacker.
Yes.
That is a great one. And there's one that's slept on that me and my friends quote a lot, which is Jamie Foxx, I Might Need Security.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Jamie Foxx is one of the best comedians out there. Like, people don't really understand how good he is in life. He's one of those people where like it's unfair to be this talented.
Yeah.
It's unfair. It's unfair to be this talented. But yeah, when he go on that piano, man, and he's doing that, shit, man. Oh man, dude.
Wild.
Yes.
Do you want these now laters?
Yeah, that's a great. Yeah. Or one of my favorite Jamie Foxx moments is when he they were at the Shaq roast or the Emmett Smith roast with Doug Williams.
Oh, when he killed Doug Williams.
And I'm your conscience.
This is your conscience.
I'm your conscience. This is your conscience. This is not Jamie. This is
his conscience.
But yeah, Jamie's great. I love Jamie Foxx.
That's what's up. All right, any more rapid fire questions, Worm?
I think that I have one more, but I forgot it. In this moment, no clue.
All right. T, you good?
Right on. Well, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining. I know we've been trying to get this done for about a year, so thanks for taking time.
Yeah, man.
You hosting the big show tonight, so good luck. I'm sure it's going to be funny as hell.
Yeah, I hope people come out, man. It's raining here, man. People don't want to do shit but have accidents in LA when it's raining.
I didn't think it ever rained in Southern California.
Yeah, Tony, live, man. It's raining today, so.
All right.
So yeah, man. You guys go. Oh, I forgot. I should have said this. I got a movie coming out called The Devil's in Kansas City. So yeah, that's coming out. That'll be available.
The Devil's in Kansas City.
The Devil Runs Kansas City. Yeah. It's like a thriller that I shot out here. They shot a lot of it in Kansas City. So yeah, I play a priest in it. So yeah, look forward. It's going to be out on some streaming program. So I forgot about that. Yeah.
There you go. I didn't know the title of that. That's what's up, man. Looking forward to that. The Devil.
Yeah.
In Kansas City.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Devil Runs Kansas City.
Devil Runs Kansas. Oh, so it's a documentary.
Yeah. That's
Awesome.
hilarious.
Looking forward to it,
All
man.
right, fellas. I'll holler at y'all.
Easy.
All right, have a good
All right,
one.
man. Take it easy.
All right. Peace.